The year is 0300 hours, somewhere deep in the Philippine Sea. The USS Gerald R. Ford's anemometer reads 157 miles per hour. That's the wind speed of a Category 5 hurricane, the same force that tears neighborhoods apart in Florida. The ocean is no longer a vast expanse of water. It's a living, violent beast. Waves tower at 50 feet, crashing against the ship's bow every 12 seconds. The flight deck lurches up and down like an elevator with its cables cut. All 100,000 tons of the ship groan under the crushing force. For every other Navy on Earth, this is the moment you pull back. You lash down aircraft. You secure for heavy weather. You hope the storm passes soon. But not for the United States Navy. The question isn't, can we survive this? The real question is, can we launch aircraft in the middle of this hell? Here's what nobody tells you. When ships like China's Liaoning or Russia's Admiral Kuznetsov hit Sea State 7, they become floating museums. Their jets are chained down. The storm wins. But when a U.S. Navy supercarrier faces the same brutal conditions, something different happens. The air boss doesn't call off flight operations. He calculates them. The landing signal officer, LSO, rigs the backup system and prepares to guide pilots down through zero visibility, using nothing but a hand controller and nerves of steel. This is the $1 billion of nuclear-powered defiance that is the U.S. Navy's secret weapon. This is why America owns the oceans when the weather turns hostile. And this is why enemies who believe a typhoon will protect them are making a deadly mistake. If you believe American engineering can defy nature itself, type "proud" in the comments right now. Today, we're breaking down the Fox core pin calculations that keep the deck landable, the catapult physics that launch jets when gravity says no, and why flying in a hurricane is the ultimate strategic weapon that nobody sees coming. Let's start with something most civilians don't realize. The flight deck isn't just a runway. It's a runway actively trying to kill you. In Sea State 7, the deck becomes a 6 degree of freedom nightmare. It pitches up and down. It rolls side to side. It heaves vertically all at once in chaotic patterns caused by 50-foot waves. The bridge crew has only one tool to fight this: speed. Most ships slow down in a storm to avoid structural damage, but aircraft carriers do the opposite. They accelerate to 30 knots and head straight into the gale. Why? Because hydrodynamic stability increases with velocity. The faster the ship moves, the more the ship's momentum resists the ocean's attempt to throw it sideways. This sounds complicated, but here's the cheat code. The captain must solve the Fox core pin problem. The Fox core pin is the ship's true heading during flight operations. To recover aircraft, you need 25 to 30 knots of wind blowing down the angled deck. This is called wind over deck, WOD. The more headwind you have, the easier it is for aircraft to land, because it reduces the aircraft's ground speed. But if you steer directly into the wind to maximize WOD, you expose the ship to resonant pitching. If the pitch angle exceeds 5 degrees, landing becomes physically impossible. So the captain trades some stability. He turns the ship at an angle to the wind, accepting a crosswind on the deck in exchange for damping the pitch. This quartering sea solution introduces roll, but roll is survivable. Uncontrolled pitch is not. It's like driving a car over a massive speed bump. If you hit it head-on at high speed, you'll fly. But if you drive over it diagonally, the ride is smoother. The captain is effectively drifting, a 100,000-ton ship over a speed bump made of water. Think about that for a second. The bridge crew is locked in an invisible battle with fluid dynamics, using heading and speed as weapons to carve out a 15-second window where the deck is stable enough for a jet to land on a 3-wire. And every 12 seconds, the ocean resets the fight. This is the war before the war, a fight only nuclear-powered supercarriers have the endurance to win. Now let's talk about why ski jump carriers become paperweights in the same storm where the USS Gerald R. Ford keeps fighting. China's Liaoning and Russia's Admiral Kuznetsov use the ski jump design. They rely on a curved ramp at the bow to launch jets. Here's the fatal flaw. The ski jump depends entirely on the ship's deck angle. The jet accelerates under its own power, hits the ramp, and jumps into the air. But in Sea State 7, physics becomes the enemy. When a 50-foot wave hits the bow, the ship pitches down hard. The bow drops 20 feet in just 2 seconds. What was once a 14-degree launch angle becomes a 4-degree angle, or worse, a downward slope. The jet leaves the deck with insufficient upward velocity. Gravity wins. The jet settles off the bow and crashes into the ocean at 140 knots. This isn't theoretical. Unconfirmed reports suggest that adversaries relying on ski jumps have experienced crashes due to this exact dynamic. Now here's where American engineering changes the game. The U.S. Navy employs CATOBAR, catapult-assisted takeoff but arrested recovery. It's simple physics. A ski jump is like a skateboard ramp. You need speed at the right angle. A catapult is like a giant slingshot. It doesn't care about the angle. When you release the rock, it flies. The FA-18 Super Hornet doesn't rely on the ship's angle. The catapult accelerates the jet from 0 to 165 knots in 310 feet using steam or electromagnetic force. Here's how it works. The nose gear locks into a shuttle. Behind it, a calibrated steel piece called the holdback bar restrains the aircraft against its engine's full power. The pilot advances the throttles to maximum thrust. The engines scream. The holdback bar absorbs tens of thousands of pounds of force until it snaps. The instant it breaks, the catapult fires. Even if the deck pitches downward, the shuttle holds the nose gear locked to the track. The jet can't fall. It's physically restrained until it reaches flying speed, no matter what the ocean is doing. Run the numbers. A ski jump requires the deck to be within plus or minus 3 degrees of level. A catapult operates in pitch angles up to plus or minus 5 degrees. That difference, the extra 2 degrees, could mean the difference between 0 sorties and 40 missions per day. This is not national pride. This is physics. The catapult defies the limitations of the ski jump, and launching is the easy part. The real test is trying to come home. It's 0200 hours. The pilot is 15 miles behind the ship, descending through the storm. Rain hammers the canopy. His fuel gauge reads 4,000 pounds. Bingo fuel, 20 minutes of flight time. Inside his helmet, he hears the landing signal officer's voice. 3/4 of a mile, call the ball. The pilot looks for the meatball, the optical landing system that projects a yellow light to guide him down. Tonight, it's useless. The ship is pitching so violently that the gyro-stabilized system can't keep up. The lights swing wildly from side to side. The call comes, rig the molas. Molas is the backup system. It's manual, a vertical pole with orange lights, no computers, no gyros, just a hand controller and a human who must become the gyro. Imagine your Tesla's autopilot fails in a thunderstorm on a winding highway. You have to grab the wheel and drive manually. That's what it's like for the LSO. The computer is dead. The human is the guidance system. The LSO is strapped to the platform to keep from being blown overboard. He grips the pickle switch, a seasoned lieutenant commander with 400 carrier landings under his belt. As the deck rises, he moves the handle up, illuminating the top lights. You're high, add power. As the deck drops, he moves the handle down. Bottom lights reduce power. But here's the nightmare. The deck is moving 15 feet per second. The pilot is closing at 140 knots. The LSO has less than 1 second to process the motion, predict where the deck will be, and move the handle to the correct position. If he's early, the pilot flies into the ramp. If he's late, the pilot bolters. And every bolter costs the pilot 15 minutes of fuel. Fuel he may not have. This is what it means to fight the ship. Not missiles, not radar. This moment, a 28-year-old LSO in hurricane force winds, manually guiding a $70 million jet to a landing pad the size of a tennis court, rising and falling like a roller coaster. The pilot trusts the LSO with his life. The LSO trusts his training and his eyes. For 15 seconds, the fate of both men is decided by how well a human hand can track the rhythm of a storm. The jet crosses the ramp at 140 knots. The tailhook snags the 3-wire. The arresting cable screams. The pilot is slammed forward with crushing force, but he is alive. He is aboard. And behind him, 3 more jets are waiting. The LSO has to do it all over again. This is what America's Navy does that no other Navy on Earth dares to attempt. This is why our supercarriers are the real weapon, capable of fighting through the most hostile conditions the sea can throw at them. Because when nature itself says no, we don't ask for permission, we advance. And when adversaries think the storm will shield them, they are in for a fatal miscalculation. When the storm hits, we don't hide, we thrive.